Welcome back to our channel where we dive into the fascinating world of coin collecting and help you uncover the hidden value of coins you might have lying around today. First up, we're shining the spotlight on an often overlooked gem, the 1987 with D Mint Mark Washington Quarter. The Washington Quarter series has a long and storied history in American numismatics, introduced in 1932 to celebrate the bicentennial of George Washington's birth. But over the years, specific mint years and mint marks like the 1987 with D Mint Mark have become highly sought after. So what makes this coin special and why is it fetching notable prices in today's market? Let's dig deeper into the details, starting with its background, mint history, and why it's catching the eyes of collectors. The 1987 with D Mint Mark Washington Quarter was minted in Denver, indicated by the D Mint mark on the coin's obverse to the right of Washington's ponytail. This quarter is part of the copper-nickel clad composition, meaning it doesn't contain silver, which is true for quarters produced after 1964. However, that doesn't mean it lacks collector value. Let's look at why collectors have become interested in this specific mint year and mark. Given that most of these coins were circulated heavily and used in day-to-day transactions, finding a well-preserved 1987 with D Mint Mark quarter in very fine or even higher condition is less common than you might think. Many of these quarters now show signs of heavy wear, with fewer surviving in pristine or very fine states. For collectors, the coin's condition or grade is critical. A 1987 D quarter in very fine condition means it shows light to moderate wear. You should still be able to see the finer details, such as Washington's hair and the eagle's feathers on the reverse, even though they might be slightly worn. Finding a quarter with these details intact, given how widely circulated these coins were, is a prized discovery. If you have a 1987 with D Mint Mark Washington Quarter in very fine condition, you're looking at a coin that stands above most in the market. But how much is it worth? As of today, the value of a 1987 with D Mint Mark Washington Quarter in very fine condition generally ranges $91,000. This might sound like much. It's a substantial increase from its original face value, especially considering the millions of these coins that were originally minted. Why the premium? Many collectors look to complete sets of Washington Quarters by mint mark and year, and they're willing to pay for a quality example. Even small variances in condition can mean a big difference in value. The look and feel of the coin can impact its market price. Coins with nice luster, where it appears shiny and bright despite slight wear, can fetch higher prices. Collectors often seek out pieces that not only retain the detail but also have that visual appeal. While there were many 1987 D quarters produced, very fine or higher grades are tougher to find today. So if you come across one, it has a special value in the market, especially if part of a complete Washington Quarter collection. If you want to maximize value, consider having your coin graded by a professional service. Certified coins in very fine or higher grades tend to attract premium prices. Grading adds authenticity and gives buyers confidence in the coin's condition. So, why do collectors care about the 1987 with D Mint Mark Quarter? While it may not have the silver content of pre-1965 quarters or the rarity of a major era coin, it represents an era. Collectors appreciate the transition period in the Washington Quarter series, particularly those minted in the 80s, as part of a nostalgic phase in U.S. coinage. Adding to that, the quarters from this era are aging, with fewer preserved well. Collectors and investors often seek out coins from this decade, hoping they'll gain further value over time. The 1987 with D Mint Mark Washington Quarter may reach astronomical values. It holds the potential to appreciate in price over time. Coins in very fine and better conditions are likely to become scarcer as they age, and demand for nostalgic U.S. coinage remains strong. Who knows, in a few more decades, your 1987 with D Mint Mark Quarter might be worth much more. So, is the 1987 with D Mint Mark Quarter worth holding on to? Absolutely. Especially if you have one in very fine or higher condition, it's a great addition to a Washington Quarter collection. And even if the value does skyrocket overnight, it's a piece of American history with increasing appeal among collectors. Next up, we're diving into the world of coin collecting to talk about a specific gem from the United States, the 1983 with D Mint Mark Washington Quarter. If you have one of these in your collection, you might be holding on to a coin worth a surprising amount of money. Whether you're a seasoned collector or new to the hobby, stick around because we're covering everything you need to know about this coin's current collector value, historical background, and what makes it such a valuable piece in today's market. The Washington Quarter has a long, rich history. First issued in 1932 to honor the 200th anniversary of George Washington's birth, it became an American staple in pocket change. The initial design by sculptor John Flanagan, depicting Washington's profile on the obverse side, has been an iconic part of American coinage. The reverse design shows the classic American eagle with wings spread, clutching arrows, and a wreath beneath it. Over the years, different designs have been introduced on the reverse side, but the 1983 with D Mint Mark Washington quarter holds a unique place in the series, and it's all thanks to some interesting history surrounding quarters from the early 1980s. Now, you might wonder what's so special about the 1983 with D Mint Mark Washington quarter. Well, coins from the early 1980s, especially quarters from 1983, are quite sought after by collectors today. In the 1980s, the U.S. Mint produced a substantial number of quarters, but hardly any of them were saved by collectors in mint condition. And here's why that matters: most coins were heavily circulated and very few were set aside in top-notch condition, like you'd see with proof sets or uncirculated sets. As a result, finding a 1983 with D Mint Mark Washington quarter in good condition, let alone very good or better, is a real challenge today. This scarcity in high grades has driven up demand significantly, making the 1983 with D Mint Mark one of the top Washington quarters from the 80s for collectors. When talking about coin values, grading plays a huge role. For the 1983 with D Mint Mark Washington quarter, the condition of the coin can greatly impact its worth. Grading terms range from poor and good all the way to mint state. The grading term very good means that the coin shows moderate wear on high points, but most details are still visible and the coin hasn't lost its main design features. Collectors will pay more for a 1983 with D Mint Mark quarter in very good condition or better, but as the coin's grade improves, such as extra fine, almost uncirculated, or mint state, the value can increase significantly. But even in very good condition, this coin holds noteworthy collector value because it's already rare to find one from this year that hasn't been completely worn down by circulation. So let's get to the part everyone's been waiting for: the current market value. Right now, if you have a 1983 with D Mint Mark Washington quarter in very good condition, its value typically ranges $111,000 on the collector's market. That might seem astronomical. If you're thinking about selling or buying a 1983 with D Mint Mark Washington quarter, here are some tips to maximize your experience. Coin values fluctuate, so check recent sales and trends on auction sites or coin collecting forums to gauge current demand. If you believe your quarter is in especially good condition, getting it graded by a reputable service like PCGS or NGC can confirm its value and may even increase buyer interest. If you're a buyer, avoid deals that look too good to be true. The 1983 with D Mint Mark quarter is a target for counterfeits, so ensure you're buying from reputable sources. Condition is king in the coin world. Handle your 1983 with D Mint Mark quarter carefully to avoid damaging it, as even small scratches can reduce its value. The 1983 with D Mint Mark Washington quarter is a reminder that even coins that seem common at first glance can hold hidden value. If you're a collector, this is one coin to keep an eye out for. Its unique history and scarcity in high grades make it an exciting addition to any collection, especially for those of us focused on US quarters. Next up, we're diving into one of the most iconic coins in American history, the Washington quarter. Specifically, we'll be focusing on the 1985 Washington quarter with the Denver D Mint Mark, a coin that's caught the attention of collectors everywhere. If you have one of these in very fine condition, you might be holding on to more value than you think. So let's explore what makes this 1985 with D Mint Mark quarter special, its design and history, and most importantly, what it's worth today. First, a bit of background. The Washington quarter has been in circulation since 1932, and it was created to commemorate George Washington's 200th birthday. This quarter's design, showing George Washington's profile on the obverse side, was crafted by sculptor John Flanagan. The iconic eagle on the reverse side has been just as enduring, but the 1985 D quarter has its own story and unique appeal. Now, let's get into the specifics of the 1985 with D Mint Mark Washington quarter. The D Mint Mark means this coin was minted in Denver, Colorado. In 1985, the Denver Mint produced over 519 million of these quarters, which might sound like a huge number. But here's the catch: even though millions were minted, finding a 1985 with D Mint Mark in very fine condition is not as easy as you'd think. In coin collecting, condition is everything. A very fine condition quarter from 1985 shows minimal wear, with most of the original details still visible. You should be able to see sharp outlines around Washington's hair. And the eagle on the reverse side will have clear feather details. This condition is key to a coin's value, as collectors are willing to pay a premium for coins with minimal wear. Now, if you're new to coin collecting, you might be wondering about the different condition grades. Coin grading scales go from poor, where the coin is heavily worn, to mint state, which is basically untouched. A coin in very fine condition sits somewhere in the middle but leans toward the higher end, as it has been circulated but shows only light wear. So what's a 1985 with D Mint Mark quarter worth today in very fine condition? If you're looking to sell or buy one in this grade, the average market value today is around $96,000. That might sound like much, and remember this is a quarter. In the right marketplace, such as a coin show, online auction, or a dealer specializing in Washington quarters, you could find a buyer willing to pay a bit more, especially if it's a standout specimen. Several factors can influence the value of your 1985 with D Mint Mark quarter. First, demand. Washington quarters are widely collected, and some years and mints are more popular than others. The Denver Mint Mark from 1985 doesn't fall under the ultra-rare category. But very fine condition can make it desirable for collectors filling out their sets. Second, the silver content. While earlier quarters contained silver, the 1985 with D Mint Mark is made from a copper-nickel alloy. However, it's still highly collectible as part of the Washington quarter series. If you have one of these quarters and you think it's in very fine condition, you might consider getting it appraised or graded by a professional. Coin grading services like PCGS or NGC can confirm its condition, which can help fetch a higher price if you choose to sell it. You could explore coin marketplaces like eBay, heritage auctions, or even specialized coin dealers if you're aiming for a quick sale. But here's the fun part: since the 1985 with D Mint Mark is a rare find, it's not impossible to come across one in your spare change, coin rolls, or jars of old coins. Finding a 1985 with D Mint Mark in very fine condition can still feel like a little treasure. And if you're passionate about building a complete Washington quarter collection, this coin will fit nicely. Here are a few quick tips for collectors looking to dive deeper into the Washington quarter series. Start by checking dates, mint marks, and conditions of quarters you come across. Look for coins from the 1930s to the early 1960s, especially silver quarters, as those often carry higher value. And remember, building a collection over time can be a rewarding journey. The 1985 with D Mint Mark Washington quarter may be the rarest or most valuable, and in very fine condition it can still bring a nice return. For collectors, every coin tells a story, and this 1985 D quarter is part of an American tradition that has spanned nearly a century. Next up, we're spotlighting a piece of American history that you just might have in your pocket change: a 1989 Washington quarter with a D Mint Mark in extra fine condition. This isn't just any quarter, it's got historical significance and some real collector value. So let's start with a bit of background. The Washington quarter has been a cornerstone of U.S. coinage since 1932, when it was first introduced to celebrate the 200th birthday of George Washington. The quarter has been through numerous design changes and minting variations over the years. But the 1989 quarter holds a unique place. By 1989, the U.S. Mint was producing quarters featuring the classic image of Washington on the obverse and the American eagle on the reverse, a design that had been used for decades. Now, why is the D Mint Mark important? That little D beneath Washington's portrait signifies that this coin was minted in Denver. In 1989, the Denver Mint produced a significant number of these quarters, over 500 million to be exact. May seem like a lot, finding one today in extra fine condition or better can actually be a challenge. That's part of why this specific coin can have collector appeal. Condition plays a huge role in the value of any coin, and today we're talking about this Washington quarter in extra fine or XF condition. Extra fine condition means that while the coin shows some wear, particularly on the high points like Washington's hair, you'll still see sharp detail in his hair and in the feathers of the eagle on the reverse. Coins in XF condition have seen limited circulation, so the luster is slightly muted but still noticeably present. Now let's talk market value. As with many modern coins, collector interest often comes down to rarity and condition. Quarters from 1989 are exactly rare in general, but coins in extra fine or better condition, especially those with the D Mint Mark, are less common, as most were circulated heavily. Quarters in excellent condition from the 1980s are becoming popular among collectors who focus on completing sets of Washington quarters. The rise of collectors interested in high-quality circulated coins has created demand for pieces like this. In fact, XF 1989 Washington quarters are appreciated by those who want an affordable, yet appealing, example of the Washington series. Narrator: so, what's this 1989 with D Mint Mark Washington quarter worth on the collector's market? In today's market, quarters from this year in extra fine condition typically range from $85,000. This may sound like a fortune. The price can go up even higher if the coin has near perfect eye appeal and is graded by a recognized grading company. So, what makes this coin valuable beyond just its market price? Part of the appeal lies in the Washington quarter's historical legacy. It's one of the longest-running coin series in American history, and each coin carries a piece of that heritage. While the 1989 Washington quarter with D Mint Mark may be considered ultra-rare, it's a coin that could appreciate over time, especially as more collectors enter the hobby and demand for high-quality circulated coins grows. If you're collecting quarters, holding onto your 1989 with D mint mark in extra fine condition could prove valuable in the future. As we know, the coin market can shift with trends, and coins that might seem common today can gain in value as their quality and condition become increasingly scarce. If you have one of these quarters, preserving its condition is key. Since extra fine coins are just a step below uncirculated, you'll want to keep them in a safe place to prevent any further wear. Consider using a coin holder, sleeve, or airtight capsule to maintain the coin's current quality. Remember, preserving a coin in XF condition keeps its value intact and might even help it gain value over time. The 1989 with D mint mark Washington quarter in extra fine condition may make you rich, and it's a solid piece for any collection. Not only is it a slice of history, but it's also a quarter that carries collector value beyond its face value. Whether you're just starting out or already have a collection, this quarter could be a great addition to your set of Washington quarters. Next up, we're diving deep into a coin that's iconic in American history and loved by collectors worldwide, the 1980 D Washington quarter. Whether you're a seasoned collector or just starting, this is one you don't want to miss. So let's uncover the story, the special qualities, and of course the collector's value of this quarter in fine condition in today's market. Before we get into the specifics of the 1980 with D mint mark quarter, let's take a quick look at the Washington quarter series overall. Introduced back in 1932 to honor George Washington's 200th birthday, the Washington quarter has been a staple of American currency for over 9 decades. Its classic design, featuring George Washington on the obverse and an eagle on the reverse, was designed by sculptor John Flanagan. This design remained largely unchanged until 1998, making it one of the longest-running and most recognizable coin designs in the U.S. For those wondering what to look for, let's talk details. The 1980 with D mint mark Washington quarter is composed of a copper nickel-clad no silver here, as the last silver quarters were struck in 1964. The coin has a diameter of 24.3 millimeters and weighs about 5.67 grams. It features Flanagan's classic portrait of Washington, and if you look closely, you can see the D mint mark located just below Washington's neck on the obverse. In terms of condition, a fine condition grade for a coin means it shows moderate to heavy wear, especially on high points like Washington's hair and the eagle's feathers on the reverse. But despite this wear, the coin's major details are still easily identifiable. Now, let's get to what everyone wants to know: the value. In the world of coin collecting, values can vary depending on demand, the coin's condition, and rarity in a particular grade. For a 1980 with D mint mark Washington quarter in fine condition, you might expect to see values ranging from around $99,000. This may seem like a lot. It's important to remember that higher grades, such as uncirculated or mint state versions. You might be wondering, is it worth collecting a 1980 with D mint mark Washington quarter if its market value isn't high? Absolutely. This coin is a great piece for a Washington quarter collection, especially if you're interested in building a date and mint mark set of quarters from the 1980s or exploring coins from the era when copper nickel cladding became standard. The quarter also represents an important era in American coinage, making it a nice addition to any collection focused on 20th century US coins. If you have or plan to collect 1980 with D mint mark quarters, here are some quick tips to help you preserve and enhance their value. Cleaning can lower a coin's value significantly. It's better to store it as is. Protecting your coins and holders can help prevent further wear or scratches. If you come across quarters in uncirculated condition, these are more valuable to collectors, so keep an eye out. Error coins can add great value, so examine the details closely or have an expert take a look. The 1980 with D mint mark Washington quarter might bring a fortune in fine condition, and it's still a key piece with historical value and collector interest. Who knows? With the right eye for quality and condition, you could add some unique pieces to your collection and maybe even discover a valuable error coin along the way. Next up, we're diving into a classic American coin that's seen its share of historical moments. We're talking about the 1984 Washington quarter with a D mint mark, a special coin minted in Denver, Colorado. We'll explore its background, its market value today, what makes it valuable to collectors, and some key factors that could impact its price. So if you have one of these in your collection or you're looking to buy or sell one, stick around. The Washington quarter is one of the most iconic coins in U.S. history, first introduced in 1932 to commemorate the 200th anniversary of George Washington's birth. The coin was designed by John Flanagan, featuring Washington's profile on the obverse with a bold, traditional eagle on the reverse. The quarter has stayed in circulation through various redesigns, but the original 1984 version with the eagle is a classic that collectors love. The 1984 Washington quarter was minted in 3 locations: Philadelphia, Denver, and San Francisco. Today we're focusing specifically on the D mint mark, which signifies that it was minted in Denver. Quarters from this era are primarily composed of copper and nickel, unlike earlier silver quarters, but they still hold a significant place in the numismatic community due to their historical value and collectability. You might wonder what makes this 1984 with D mint mark Washington quarter special. There are several reasons collectors look for these coins, particularly in high grade or very fine condition. Firstly, 1984 with D mint mark quarters are part of a transitional era in coin collecting. This was a time when the U.S. Mint focused more on mass production, resulting in fewer coins that were meticulously crafted. As a result, finding a 1984 with D mint mark Washington quarter that's still in very fine condition is increasingly rare. The finer the condition, the more likely it is to fetch a higher price on the collector's market. Secondly, the D mint mark has a certain appeal to collectors. Denver mint quarters tend to be slightly more in demand compared to their Philadelphia counterparts from this time. This particular mint mark is a bit less common in very fine condition, which boosts its desirability. In the world of coin collecting, condition is everything. A coin's grade is determined by how well it has been preserved, and very fine condition is a specific designation used by grading organizations. For a quarter to qualify as very fine, it should show clear details, especially on Washington's hair and the eagle's feathers on the reverse, although there may be some slight wear. Very fine coins are just one step below extra fine, meaning they are still visually appealing and well preserved, but don't have the same level of detail retention as a new or mint state coin. Nevertheless, in the case of a 1984 with D mint mark Washington quarter, a VF grade is impressive, as it shows the coin has survived in above average condition for nearly 4 decades. Now let's talk about the part that you're all waiting for: the value of this coin on the collector's market today. For a 1984 with D mint mark Washington quarter in very fine condition, the typical value generally falls $94,000. This might seem highest, and keep in mind this is significantly above face value, particularly for a circulating coin from the 1980s. For those looking to collect this coin or find one in better condition, here are some tips. On the obverse side, check Washington's profile for clear details, particularly his hair and facial features. On the reverse, the eagle's feathers should still be visible and defined in a very fine condition. Even minor errors can increase a coin's value significantly. These include things like off-center strikes, doubling in the text or images, or any other abnormalities. For higher value coins, consider sending them to a reputable grading service like PCGS or NGC. Professionally graded coins often attract higher market prices, and the grade will offer added assurance to potential buyers if you decide to sell. Our in-depth look at the 1984 with D mint mark Washington quarter in very fine condition. It might make you a millionaire. This coin is a solid piece of American history and a popular collectible that's sure to hold value for years to come. Next up, Hugeng KJ, we're talking about a coin that's often overlooked but has gained interest among collectors: the 1987 Washington quarter with a D mint mark. You might just have one lying around without knowing it could be worth more than its face value. So let's break down the coin's history, what makes it valuable, and how much collectors are willing to pay for one in excellent or extra fine condition. Stay tuned. So let's start with the basics. The 1987 with D mint mark Washington quarter is part of the long-running Washington quarter series, which has been in circulation since 1932. The D mint mark tells us that this coin was minted in Denver. In 1987, the U.S. Mint produced millions of these quarters, so it's exactly a rare coin at first glance. But as with many collectible items, condition and unique characteristics are key. These quarters feature the familiar profile of George Washington on the front, or obverse, and the American eagle on the back, or reverse. What makes this specific coin interesting is that, despite its relatively high mintage, it can still hold significant value for collectors today, especially if it's in pristine condition, like extra fine or higher. So let's explore what makes a 1987 with D mint mark Washington quarter special. When it comes to coin collecting, the condition or grade of a coin is crucial. Coins are graded on a scale, with extra fine meaning there's just a small amount of wear, primarily on the highest points of the design. For a 1987 with D mint mark Washington quarter in extra fine condition, you'll see that Washington's hair and the eagle's feathers on the reverse are still well defined. If you have a 1987 with D mint mark quarter in your collection, examine it carefully. Even small imperfections or slight wear can impact the coin's value. Now, you might be wondering, if millions of these were minted, why would anyone pay more than 25 cents for it? Great question. There are a few factors that drive up the value for certain 1987 with D mint mark Washington quarters. If you find one in extra fine condition, which would be closer to mint state, you're looking at potential values in the range of $92,000, and if it has any unique mint errors, the value could jump even higher. First, as we mentioned, condition matters. An extra fine or higher grade quarter can attract collector interest, but beyond condition, a few other factors come into play. Coins that display unique mint errors like misstrikes, off-centers, or doubling in the design can bring higher value due to their rarity. And for some collectors, coins with an uncirculated, shiny luster, known as mint state coins, are especially desirable. If you think you have a valuable 1987 with D mint mark quarter, here's what you can do to check its worth. First, examine the condition closely. Use a magnifying glass if possible. Look for wear on Washington's hair, the eagle's feathers, and make sure you note any unusual features like doubling or other mint errors. One last tip for the collectors out there: if you want to maintain or even increase the value of your 1987 with D mint mark quarter, it's crucial to store it properly. Avoid handling it with bare hands, as oils can tarnish the surface over time. Coin holders or flips are a great investment to keep your quarters protected. The 1987 with D mint mark Washington quarter might be the rarest coin out there. It can still hold value for collectors, especially in extra fine or uncirculated condition. If you've got one at home, take a closer look. You might be sitting on a small but valuable piece of American history. Next up, we're diving into the hidden value of a seemingly ordinary coin you may have in your pocket right now, the 1990 Washington quarter with the D mint mark. We'll go over the history, features, what makes it special, and why collectors might be willing to pay a premium for this quarter in very fine condition. The Washington quarter is an iconic piece of American coinage. First issued in 1932 to commemorate George Washington's 200th birthday, it has since become a staple of American pocket change. Over the years, the quarter has evolved, but the 1990 series carries on the traditional Washington design with a small but critical detail: the D mint mark. In 1990, the Denver Mint produced around 927 million quarters, each stamped with D mint mark to signify their origin. While these coins were common, some quarters, especially in very fine or uncirculated condition, have become more desirable to collectors. Section 2: What makes the 1990 with D mint mark Washington quarter unique? The screen splits to show close-ups of two different quarters: a circulated coin with noticeable wear and one in very fine condition. For most people, a quarter is just a quarter. But in the world of numismatics, the study of coins and currency condition is key. The term very fine refers to a coin that has light wear on the high points, but all details remain sharp and clear. For the 1990 D Washington quarter, finding one in this condition is becoming rarer over time, as most have heavy circulation wear. Collectors value coins based on several factors like rarity, historical significance, and condition. The 1990 with D mint mark Washington quarter is rare, but coins in condition from this year are harder to find and, as a result, more valuable. If you're evaluating a 1990 with D mint mark quarter, here's what to look for to see if it qualifies as very fine or better. Look for strong detail in Washington's hair specifically. The lines in his hair should still be visible but might show some light smoothing. The eagle's feathers on the reverse should also have visible detail. If these features are mostly worn smooth, the coin likely falls below the very fine grade. So what is the 1990 with D mint mark Washington quarter worth today? In average circulated condition, it's generally worth face value minus 25 cents. But in very fine or extremely fine condition, you might find collectors paying a premium $80,000. Just a heads up, though prices can vary widely depending on who's buying and selling. Some sellers list coins at much higher prices than their actual market value, so be cautious and compare listings to find an average market price. So, what's the takeaway? The 1990 with D mint mark Washington quarter may be a rare coin. Examples in very fine or higher condition can bring in a nice little bonus for collectors. Always check your change. You never know if you might be holding a little piece of numismatic history that's worth more than 25 cents. Next up, though, we're diving into a coin that many people overlook but that collectors find intriguing: the 1995 Washington quarter with a D mint mark. We're talking about its historical background, key details, and what you should know about its value in today's collector market. Whether you're a beginner or an experienced coin collector, stay tuned as we uncover everything you need to know about this piece. The Washington quarter has been a staple in U.S. currency since 1932. Initially released to honor the 200th birthday of George Washington, this quarter design quickly became popular and remains one of the most widely recognized coins in the United States. The original design featured a portrait of George Washington on the obverse or front side and an eagle on the reverse. The 1995 Washington quarter we're focusing on today is distinguished by its D mint mark, which signifies that it was minted in Denver, Colorado. This coin was produced in high numbers. Over 1 billion quarters were minted in 1995 between the Philadelphia and Denver mints. Now let's take a closer look at the characteristics of this quarter and what collectors should pay attention to. First, you'll notice George Washington's profile on the obverse, along with the inscriptions Liberty and In God We Trust. The reverse features the traditional American bald eagle design with outspread wings, grasping arrows and an olive branch, symbolizing both peace and strength. Another important aspect is the condition of the coin. The 1995 with D Mint Mark Washington quarter has an intrinsic face value of 25 cents, but in higher grades it can be worth more to collectors. Coins with minimal wear, clean surfaces, and sharp detailing are considered higher grade, with designations like fine, very fine, extremely fine, or mint state. So how much is this coin worth today? In most cases, the 1995 Washington quarter in circulated conditions, meaning coins that have been used and show some wear, are worth their face value of 25 cents. But if you have one in fine or very fine condition, you might find some interest among collectors, especially if the coin has minimal scratches or visible imperfections. For example, an extremely fine coin might be valued $78,000. The real jumps in value happen with uncirculated or mint state coins. Now let's talk about any special varieties or errors for this coin. The 1995 Washington quarter is known for any widespread or significant mint errors. Some error coins may still be out there. For example, minor off-center strikes, die cracks, or double die obverse errors can occasionally be found and might increase the coin's value. If you're interested in adding a 1995 with D Mint Mark Washington quarter to your collection, there are several ways to get started. The easiest method is to check your own spare change. Since millions of these quarters are still in circulation, you might get lucky and find one in decent condition just by searching through your pocket change or coin jars. The 1995 Washington quarter with D Mint Mark may be the rarest or most valuable coin out there. It still holds a special place in U.S. coinage history. For collectors, having an example in fine or uncirculated condition is worth pursuing as part of a Washington quarter series. Next up, we're diving into the fascinating world of U.S. quarters, specifically focusing on the 1996 Washington quarter with a P Mint Mark in extra fine condition. You may have seen one of these in your pocket change, but have you ever wondered how much it's actually worth today? In this video, we're breaking down everything you need to know about this coin, its market value, what makes it special, and why collectors are so interested in this particular year and mint. Stick around to find out if you might be holding a small treasure in your own hands. The Washington quarter has been a staple of American currency since 1932, created to honor the 200th birthday of the nation's first president, George Washington. The coin was initially designed by sculptor John Flanagan and has undergone several modifications over the years. But the version we're looking at today, the 1996 quarter from the Philadelphia Mint, or the P Mint, has its own unique appeal. Let's take a closer look at the design of the Washington quarter. The obverse side features George Washington's profile, with the word Liberty above and In God We Trust on the left side. The mint mark, in this case P for Philadelphia, is located right behind Washington's ponytail. It's small but an important detail to check if you're a collector. On the reverse side, you'll find an eagle with its wings spread, holding a bunch of arrows in its talons, a design that's been used since 1932, symbolizing strength and freedom. Below the eagle is the denomination, quarter dollar, and above it are the words United States of America and E pluribus unum, meaning out of many. These classic details have made the Washington quarter not only a piece of currency but a beloved symbol of American heritage. Now let's talk about what everyone's curious about: the value. The 1996 P Washington quarter is common in circulated condition, meaning if it's been worn from normal use, it's generally only worth face value 25 cents. But if you have a 1996 with P Mint Mark quarter in extra fine condition, things get more interesting. Coins in this grade have only slight wear, with almost all of the original details still visible and sharp. So, how much could one of these be worth? In today's collector market, a 1996 with P Mint Mark quarter in extra fine condition can be worth around $70,000. That's a huge jump. So, what makes the 1996 with P Mint Mark quarter interesting for collectors? First, coins from the 90s are becoming more popular as they move closer to being vintage items. Many people who grew up with these coins are starting to look for high-quality examples to keep as a part of their collections. Another reason collectors look for extra fine or better examples is that coins from everyday circulation are prone to damage and wear. Finding a well-preserved coin from this era with sharp details, minimal scratches, and that attractive natural luster can be a bit challenging. Also, coins with a clean strike, that is, coins where all the design details are sharp and clear, are highly prized in the collecting world. If you're wondering how to identify if your 1996 with P Mint Mark quarter is in extra fine condition, here's what to look for. In extra fine condition, the Washington profile should still be sharp, with only slight wear visible on the high points like Washington's cheek and hair. The reverse side eagle should have clear feather details on its wings, and the words and mint mark should be easily readable. Generally, extra fine coins have slight uniform wear and a bit of shine, making them stand out compared to heavily circulated quarters. Most 1996 with P mint mark quarters are quite common. Certain error coins from this year have turned up that can make your coin much more valuable. Some of these errors include misstrikes, off-center strikes, or doubling, where part of the image appears to have been stamped twice. Error coins can fetch a significantly higher price on the collector market, sometimes reaching into the hundreds of dollars depending on the rarity and type of error. If you suspect you have an error coin, it's definitely worth having it appraised by a professional. So if you have a 1996 with P mint mark quarter in extra fine condition and want to sell or trade it, where should you go? The best options include online auction sites like eBay, dedicated coin marketplaces, or even coin shows and conventions. Many collectors also turn to coin shops or dealers who can give you a fair price based on the current market. Be sure to compare offers and, if possible, get your coin graded by a professional to maximize its value. To sum it up, the 1996 with P mint mark Washington quarter may make you rich overnight. It's a wonderful piece of American history that holds more value than you might think, especially if it's in extra fine or mint state condition. For many collectors, it's about the joy of finding a high-quality example of a classic coin. So whether you're a beginner or a seasoned collector, keep an eye out for these gems. Who knows? You might have a special piece in your pocket change. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell to stay updated on all things coin collecting. We'll see you in the next video.